What is going on, Wealth Our Way Nation? What is up? It is your man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. I welcome each and every one of you to episode 50. 50, the big half a century. Now, y'all know who've been here with Wild Nation from the very beginning that I've done hundreds of these episodes, but we started numbering them when we started working with the good people from the Life 101 platform. And this is the 50th recording. Time is flying. So I want to thank each and every one of you who are here with me live as I stream across the Facebook and YouTube platforms on Wealth Our Way. I also want to give the special salute to the Wealth Our Way Nation members who watch this program pre-recorded overnight, over the weekend, or wherever they can squeeze 15 minutes of financial literacy in. And then the heartfelt hello and how you doing to my Life 101 brethren who listen to the audio of this here program. So, everybody says the thing they love about Wealth Our Way, 15 Minutes of Finance, and Big Tank is the transparency and the authenticity. So I got to tell you, it's been an emotional week for me, for my people, all of that. So right now I am in the outskirts of Richmond, Virginia. I'm near Glen Allen, Virginia, with my special guest for today, the beautiful Bria Smith, my oldest daughter, who I will show you all shortly, because we are attending the funeral of Bria's stepfather, Jeff, who I love. I posted on Facebook last week that a dear, dear, dear member of my crew had passed. I didn't go into detail because I wanted to make sure his family had an opportunity to spread the information before my social media network took over the information. But I will be doing a special post for Jeff because he was my big baby's stepdad and male figure when I was 4 hours away by car and always did right by my daughter. So we're going to go pay our final respects. That has been going on. Just been dealing with travel and things at home and just things that life deals at you. With that being said, though, we cannot let the show stop. We got to keep it going here at 15 Minutes of Finance and bring the education to wrap up the money making month of August, to wrap up all of the different financial stream of incomes that we have talked about. So we did week one, we did Turo, and I think we got a lot of good information with Turo. Week two, we did affiliate marketing. I loved what I learned during the affiliate marketing lessons. And then last week, we did drop shipping, concluding with fulfillment by Amazon. And this week, we're going to do making money with real estate. We're going to look into Airbnb, Verbo, I think it's pronounced VRBO. I don't know. Your man Big Tank is old. And what I really wanted to do was talk to you guys with my special guest, my firstborn pride and joy, Bria, about a concept that she has used to purchase her first home. And I wanted to talk to the general audience and give her an opportunity to talk about house hacking. She's written a book. I'll let her tell you about the book. But the concept of house hacking is getting a home and having it financed by tenants that you have in the home while you're there. So we are going to turn things over to the lovely Bria Smith, and she will answer me while you're looking at her. I'm going to be interviewing her, and she can answer into the camera. So here we go, Bria.
Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing today?
So, Bria, I got you all harnessed in because safety first. But with that being said, talk briefly before we get into any deep dive about your first time home buyer experience, buying a home in a gentrified neighborhood, and then what your thoughts were as to how you would finance said home.
So I bought my house in 2019. So I've been house hacking for 2 years now. I first started out trying to buy my house with a program called NACA that didn't really work out for me. It's a program for first time home buyers that have credit issues and things like that. They kind of make you jump through a lot of hoops. I didn't really have those issues. My issue was having enough savings for the down payment, which is a lot of people's issue, especially young people buying a house, because we don't really have that much savings between trying to be young and keep up with the Joneses on Instagram and also student loans if you've gone to school and gotten degrees. So I actually worked 2 jobs in 2019. I worked for my dad and I worked for the school that I currently work at, and that enabled me to be able to save enough money and then also help from my dad. I know a lot of people don't have that as well, so it might take longer to save if they don't have somebody helping them financially. So getting the down payment was my biggest struggle. Once I was able to overcome that, I bought a 6 bedroom, 3 bathroom house in West Philly. And when I did that, I bought it with the intention to have roommates and then eventually rent those rooms out and have those rooms pay for my mortgage and other expenses in my house. My goal was to not have any house-like expenses. So anything having to do with the house, like electric, water, internet, alarm system, like the whole house was maintenance by the people that lived in it. That was my goal. And I achieved that goal 1 month after moving into my house. I had 3 roommates in the 4 bedrooms, in the 3 bedrooms of the 6. So 4 of them were occupied. I have 3 other girls, and then one room is used as a guest room, and then another one as an office. So yeah, and everything is paid for. And I've been living like that for 2 years. In the 2 years, I've had 6 roommates total. Love them all. It's been a great time so far.
So let me ask you a couple of questions because my audience ranges in age, but I will say with the range of age, we tend to be closer to my age than your age. My daughter is in her late 20s, and I know when I talked about this on Facebook in another group, the number of people that were outraged by the thought of me suggesting to them that they have roommates was ridiculous. But you actually, because I talked to you about that myself, because I wanted to come visit whenever I wanted to, and I didn't want to, make your roommates feel uncomfortable that your dad was there and things of that nature. But you pointed out to me something that I had to adopt in my own mind, which was your whole living background basically had always been to be with someone else. You were in your mom's house, then you went to college and had roommates in college. Then you moved to New York for your first job, and it was too expensive to live by yourself. So you said to me, well, Daddy, I've been paying someone else for me to live with someone else my whole life. So now I'll get paid to live with someone else, and it's not that much of a variation from what I'm used to. So talk to me about the whole procurement of roommates, that process. You said you've been blessed to always enjoy your roommates, but I could imagine there are people who have experiences with roommates that they don't like, some nightmare situations. How is your process? You can't just be lucky. How has your process been working so well for you?
I think it's because I strategized like where I was going to live. I live in West Philly, and that is in the middle of several colleges, so it's like a college town. So UPenn is right around the corner, Drexel. Temple is in North Philly, but it's not very far. I go to Temple for law school. It's only about 28 minutes away. And I market to graduate students, like people who are like me, people who are busy. They either have a job and they're working on another degree, or they're there in the city for some particular purpose. So I know that they're going to be there, and they have a start date and an end date, not someone who's just looking to live somewhere for life. Like, this is like a transitional place for a lot of the girls that I live with. So I did Teach for America when I was in New York. So I market to Teach for America people and people that are in grad school.
So when you have situations, it's funny because I love having. You're such a bright child, and I'm not just saying it because you're my child, but you're so resourceful, and you definitely keep daddy up on all things tech, all things social media. You literally were the first person that I heard about Airbnb from. You were the first person that I heard about Turo from. And to you, these are everyday phrases and things and ways of life. Whenever you want to sell something, you're on an app. It's just an amazing way of doing business and just monetizing your life. I remember my daughter had moved to New York, and she had this place in Brooklyn, and she had a couple of roommates, and she called me up and said, Daddy, we're going to put our living room on Airbnb. And I like to lose it. I said, well, first of all, what is Airbnb and what do you mean? She's like, well, Airbnb, you can rent a whole house or a space or a room to someone who's just coming by and needs a place to stay for a night. So let me understand this, little girl. You are going to rent your sofa to a complete stranger while you're 20 feet away in the bedroom, and you're not worried about getting chopped up into little pieces. And she looked at me like I was crazy. Like, no, Dad, this is the rage, and I live in New York. I can get $200 a night for my sofa.
Nobody let me do that. I was so upset because my roommates weren't comfortable with it either, and I was like, I
Because
should
they
pick
got
different.
brains.
Should have picked different roommates because we can really be making some money and not having to pay these bills. Nobody wanted to listen to me.
So as you guys could see, you hear me all the time here on 15 Minutes of Finance. I'm always entrepreneurially driven and speaking, and it rubbed off on this one. She is very much always looking for the upper hand financially, and I love that about her. But I have to kind of remind her of her safety. Even the funny story about her living in West Philly. I came to her house and she's so sheltered in her upbringing, so to speak, that she didn't understand gentrification, so to speak, and how this neighborhood really was around her. The house is gorgeous, it's well appointed, but she's, in my opinion, in the trap. And I said, Bria, I worked so hard to get out of this neighborhood, and you literally live within a stone's throw of where Daddy grew up. And she's like, yeah, well, you should be happy. It's all come full circle. And I was like, no, I'm not happy. But her house is a great investment. So talk to me about the book that you wrote.
So I wrote an ebook on house hacking. It is for just it's like called the like Millennial Black Girl's Guide to House Hacking, but it's really for anybody who wants to house hack. It's just like it's titled that because I'm a millennial black girl and a house hack, and it's basically highlighting my story of how I got it done. But it just details everything that I did from start to finish, from getting the house, from getting it rented, getting it furnished, all the things that I pay for outside of just like mortgage, electric, like all the things that make girls that are getting their masters or getting their doctorate or getting or teaching, what makes them drawn to my house and want to live with me and want to stay there for multiple years. Like, we have a really nice alarm system, we have a movie theater, like it's a very like good situation. Like when I moved to New York, I had to furnish a whole place in New York, and that was really expensive. Like I would have liked to just move in somewhere where I only had to bring my room furniture, or had the option of furniture because I knew I wasn't going to be there very long. Or one of my roommates is from like Seattle, another one's from Wisconsin. Like they don't have family out here, they don't know things. Like it's really like a family-based house, and I wish I had something like that, and that's what I created.
Yeah, she actually has her own little home gym in there with a Peloton and weight sets. And one of her roommates is very diminutive in stature, and they were just trying to find her Peloton shoes so she could ride the Peloton. It's definitely like a little, not, I don't want to demean it by saying it's like a sorority house because they're all grown folks, but it definitely has a familial feel to it. And to my concern of coming over there as a man and as Bria's dad, I don't stay long when I visit. I come see my child, not bounce. But everybody's very receptive to me when I come over, and they're just happy to see somebody. And they miss their dads, so they'll talk to me about stuff. It's always a good experience. But before we close, Bree, I wanted you to tell me about tell the audience something that you said to me that I didn't know until you said it earlier today. You said that when you solicit for roommates, the people who come in sight unseen, you're like 100% rental rate. But the people who physically come visit first, you haven't rented to any of them. What do you attribute that to?
I think a lot of people that come to my house to move in are coming from afar. Like one of my roommates is from Wisconsin, the other one's from um, Seattle, and I think it's because like they aren't familiar with Philly. They don't understand that West Philly is the hood. And by the time they move in, they're like, okay, I've seen other neighborhoods. Like my roommate the other day, the one from Seattle, she's my newest roommate. We both go to Temple. She's in a PhD program at Temple. She said, like, I really am glad I picked to live over here instead of around Temple. And I'm like, why? And I mean, because North Philly looks really similar to West Philly. It's just a bunch more students. She was like, yeah, it really gives me an undergraduate feel. And I'm a grad student now. Like, I don't want to be in the mix with that at all times. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that. Like, that's something I could put like in my post for like people who don't want to be in the mix, especially if they have a car. And I live like strategically 3 blocks from a train station, and just everything that I put in the post, it's really realistic for those people who are like students or coming for a particular purpose. People that come to see the house probably are from Philly, live in Philly, and they're like, I'm not going to pay X number of dollars to live right here because I know this neighborhood and I know what everybody else is paying. But people that move from afar don't know that, and you're not just paying for the space in the area, you're paying for all the amenities that we provide as a house.
Well, I appreciate that, big baby. I love what you've done. Please tell the people about the book again, just in case anyone wants to go on Etsy or anywhere and get it.
I can link it as well, but it's called The Millennials Black Girl Guide to House Hacking, and it's on Etsy.
You see how she did me. She said she could link it because she always wants to disparage her dad's
No, I
limited
don't.
technology. I say we don't tell people where the book is. Dad, we can just do this and link it and it'll all work. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm on my way to this funeral to pay my last respects to a great man. I thank you guys for joining us. And as always, please, please, please remember wealth is not only for the wealthy. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.